While the NFL playoffs are set to begin this weekend, it's a different process starting up for the Minnesota Vikings. After missing the postseason, the Vikings now shift their focus to the offseason, one of the biggest items on the checklist involving the most important position on the field. The Vikings saw a revolving door at the quarterback position after Kirk Cousins suffered a torn Achilles at Lambeau Field. He was having a career year before that injury as well, leading the NFL in touchdown passes, and he was second in passing yards. Cousins had said that he wants to return to Minnesota, but the structure of his contract would be a massive factor. Now, with the final year of that contract wrapped up and the team holding the 11th overall pick in a draft with a ton of quarterback talent, that brings up a massive question for the Vikings front office. Do they want to re-sign their 35-year-old signal caller? Vikings general manager Kwesi Adofo-Mensah minced no words about that in his press conference earlier today.
We saw what he does to this team. I thought we were playing really good football before he got injured, and it's the most important position in sports now. Ultimately, it always comes down to, can you find an agreement that works for both sides and all those things. But as a player, it's certainly my intention to have him back here. You want to be thinking long-term and short-term, and ultimately the Vikings are going to, pursue actions that help us in the both windows.
It's going to be a massive offseason for Kwesi and his staff. Cousins isn't the only upcoming free agent they have to worry about. These are just some of the big names looking for new contracts this summer. Defensive lineman Danielle Hunter had his own contract situation at training camp last year. Their second best pass rusher, DJ Wonnum, is also approaching free agency. And Dalton Reisner, who grabbed the starting guard job last year, is also set to hit the open market. And unless they draft someone, they really don't have another answer at guard on the roster right now. We'll see which of these players are coming back as the offseason rolls on. The North Dakota hockey team set to open the most important stretch of their regular season. These next 16 games mark the final stretch of NCHC contests as they look to climb the conference ladder ahead of the postseason. UND currently sits at second place in the NCHC standings, looking to secure either a top seed for the conference championship tournament or even an outright regular season title. Their first chance to do that is coming up this weekend. It's against the Omaha Mavericks, who are looking to begin a conference turnaround of their own. Head coach Bradbury talked about his team's mentality heading into this important stretch.
Those 16 games don't mean a thing unless you take care of this weekend. And our guys have done a good job of keeping the things in front of them on a short-term basis. In order to get all that going, the short-term focus and the day-to-day, the leadership has to help drive this. And again, we always talk about the second half of the season. The leaders in the locker room have to take over the locker room, and they've done a good job so far, and they're going to keep pushing.
The last time these two teams met was in the conference championship tournament last year. North Dakota knocking Omaha out of the tourney down in their own barn, the Baxter Arena, eliminating the Mavericks with a 2-1 win in the quarterfinal round. Puck drops for this one at 7:07 on Friday night. And guys, I was there for UND's last non-conference game before this stretch continues against my beloved Alaska Nanooks. And it hurt a little bit, but it was cool to see UND roll on.
UND got the sweep there. That's important because it's hard to get sweeps. Even good teams lose or tie or go to overtime.
And Alaska is by no means that's not an easy non-conference game.
Right.
UND is the number 4 team in the country, and they looked exactly like it this weekend. Now they have to turn it around big time and kind of turn it up a little bit more as they head into conference play.
It's going to be cold walking into the Ralph.
Always cold.
Yeah.
That's true. Coming up, the wind chills outside this weekend. Russ is back in with one more look at your forecast and just how low those temperatures and wind chills will go next.